Hi everyone, and welcome back to another holiday card series video. Today I'm starting with this paper Smooches stamp set and a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to be stamping this mitten with the VersaFine Onyx Black ink to create my background. So I'm stamping it many times on the background and just creating whatever pattern I would like on there. I'm turning the stamps so that they look a little bit different for each one. After I get that finished, I am going to go over it with my clear Simon Says Stamp embossing powder. Because I did use that pigment ink, the embossing powder will stick to it. I can then go ahead and heat that up and melt all of the embossing powder with my heat tool, and then I am going to do a little bit of watercoloring with it. So I'm using Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. I have a green and a red one, and I'm randomly coloring these with both of the colors. So I'm starting with the green, and I'm just coloring by the bottom part of the mitten because I'm going to watercolor the rest of it, so I just need to get a little bit of color on each of those. And then I'm taking my water brush and blending the color out so that it looks watercolored. Now, I didn't use watercolor cardstock, I used a heavy cardstock, but if you wanted it to blend a little bit better, you could use watercolor cardstock. When I finish this, I'm going to do a little bit different of a technique, and it kind of turned out cool, and I don't think that it would have turned out like that if I had used the watercolor cardstock. So just wait until the end of the video to kind of see what that looked like with me not using watercolor cardstock. So I'm just blending all of this color out. You can see how where I applied the color it's darker and then it is lighter towards the top part of the mitten. And then for my background, I am going to be taking a dark blue color, and I'm just scribbling this to get some color on there. And then I'll also take my water brush pen and blend that color out. Parts of it are lighter, parts of it are darker, and you can always go in and add more ink if you want darker color. So I always suggest starting with less color because it's harder to take it away than it is to add more color and make it darker. So I wasn't happy with the way it was blending, so I actually finished blending all that out and then I sprayed it with my water mister. And then I got this cool kind of like watery background. You'll be able to see pictures of it more in the end. But it kind of almost looks like I put salt on it. When you put salt on the watercolor and it turns like, you get like little splotches, kind of like the ice crystals on your car in the winter when you get frost. So I think the background turned out really cool. So I'm coloring in two more mittens. These two I'm going to be cutting out to put on top of my card. So I'm just using the exact same technique. I'm using my water brush to blend out the color. I'm doing one red and one green mitten. And then I'll go ahead and fussy cut both of those images out. So I'm going to tone down my background a little bit with a piece of vellum. I'm going to stamp my sentiment on this. It's from the same Paper Smooches stamp set. It says, "Love will keep us warm." And I'm going to heat emboss this, so I'm just going to take my powder tool and go over that piece of vellum. And then ink this up with my Versamark ink. Then I'm going to stamp it more towards the right side, but in the center. And then I'm heat embossing this with the liquid platinum embossing powder. So I'm going to go ahead and put my mitten background on a white A2 size card base. And then for the piece of vellum, I'm going to pop this up a little bit. So I'm using the clear tack or cool tack foam adhesives. They're not really foam though, it's like a clear jelly material. And I'm just putting one on each corner, and then I'll put some on the back of the sentiment. And it doesn't really show because I have such a patterned background, but if you do a less pattern in the background, those squares do show a little bit, so you just want to take note of that. So I'm taking a piece of green twine and I'm going to tape each end to the back of a mitten. And then I can put these on my card. So I'm going to kind of twist the twine and then arrange it how I would like it to go on my card. Then I'm going to adhere each of the mittens down with a foam square. I'm using the small ones from Best Creation. And then to adhere the twine down a little bit, I'm just going to take some of my multi-matte medium and then squirt that on the back of the twine. That way it won't move on my card. And then the last step, I'm going to add some sequins. I have the Snowflake mix from Mint Owl Studio. I'm just scattering those on my card, and then I will put them into place with some multi-matte medium. Just putting a dot onto my card and then placing the sequin into the adhesive. You could also use glossy accents or the Tombow Mono Multi Glue. And all of the supplies I used on this card will be linked below and on my blog if you're interested. And then that is my finished card for today. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial with the Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel because you are not going to want to miss any of my latest holiday card series videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!